All right, assalamu alaikum. Welcome to this goal setting workshop for the last 90 days of the year. This is Q4 coming up, where we talk about business goals, fitness goals, all kinds of goals, and ultimately how to set goals with an Islamic context. And I actually want to begin this video by saying Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim and actually going into a hadith about a number of different things, because the thing is that when it comes to the last 90 days of the year, most average people start to lose motivation. And even high achievers like you can lose motivation as well, because you find yourself in this position where everybody around you is kind of getting less motivated, so you start to feel less motivated. The thoughts and ideas of average people like, the end of the year's coming up, the world basically shuts down November, December, whatever, let's just chill, let's just relax. These ideas start to creep into your head, and that you start to feel in a lower state because you're a high achiever. You enjoy winning, you enjoy crushing it, whether it's professionally, whether it's personally. And so if you find yourself in a position right now where maybe you aren't on track to the big goals that you set at the beginning of this year, what I'm here to encourage you to do, using both hadith and worldly motivation to give us a powerful combination of motivation, is get you in a position in which you're super pumped to crush your goals the last 90 days a year, and you're set up with the right state and the right plan to actually go on and dominate, inshallah. So bismillah, let's dive in, and let's begin with the hadith, which I'm going to screen share here, which is health and free time, right? There are two blessings which many people waste: health and free time. So I want you to think about the way that most people approach the last 90 days of the year. They completely waste an entire chunk, 25% of their year, being demotivated, not being in their highest and most motivated state, and not taking maximal action to achieve their goals. Now, I'm not saying that you can't ever take rest. You should definitely have a rest day or two per week from work. So take days off, especially if you have a family. You should take 2 days off, spend some time with your wife or your husband, whoever it may be, and definitely with your kids, your family, because life's too short to be working all the time. But during those 5 days of the week that you're hustling, be present, crush it, do everything that you can inside of your career or your business to do your very best. And if you're single, you could work 6 days a week, no problem. So keep going, keep crushing it, and take those rest days. And of course, when it comes to the gym, I would advocate for 3, sometimes even 4 rest days per week if you're hitting it hard, because the purpose of hitting the gym is to go in there, stimulate muscle growth, stimulate metabolic adaptation, a positive direction, and get out of the gym, and of course go for a daily walk. That's something that you don't need to take a rest day from, get your steps in. But as far as actually lifting, it's counterproductive if you're training at a sufficient intensity to go super hard. But again, going back to the problem about motivation, tying it in with the hadith, is that so many people end up wasting this last quarter of the year because, again, they fall into this average mindset. Or maybe they start off strong the last quarter of the year, but by the time November rolls around and everybody else gets lazy, you're done. And by the time that December rolls around, everybody's given up, including you. So don't let that be you. Don't let yourself waste another year and start the new year on the back foot. Instead, let's start off the last quarter of the year and the first quarter of next year, inshallah, with maximum motivation and not waste this time, and also not waste our health. Because the thing is, let's say that you've been prioritizing and succeeded and excelling in certain areas of your life, probably professionally or whatever it may be, over the course of this year, but you've become a little bit one-dimensional where, wealth has come at the expense of health, or wealth has come at the expense of your deen, or wealth has come at the expense of your family, or maybe you're doing well in multiple areas, but you've lost that fourth dimension. And so to truly win, to truly be a champion, it's not necessarily about being a 10 in all 4 areas, but it's about being at least an 8. But the problem is some people are a 10 in their career, but a 4 in their body, or a 4 in their deen, or a 2 with their family. They're missing, their kids' sports practice, or their daughter's, dance recital, or they're missing date nights with their wife, or they're not spending time with their husband, or whatever it may be. And so you want to be in a position where you're at least an 8 in all areas, right? You're crushing it when it comes to your family because you're present, you're positive, you have energy that ties in with fitness and finding a time-efficient way to get and stay fit, such as you have the energy, the presence, and the positivity to be the best version of you around your family, around your spouse, and around your kids. And then obviously you have the energy to perform at your highest peak and have stamina all day long, focus all day long in your career, because you take care of your body, your health, and your nutrition, and you're not just stress eating and then driving yourself down this hole of poor energy, overuse of caffeine, and more stress that compounds and makes you make even worse choices when it comes to stress eating. Don't fall into the negative pattern. Fall into and build the positive pattern. And that's how body ties in with business and family. And most importantly, the most important priority of them all is be on point with your deen. I've done a couple content posts recently about people who make excuses that they're too busy with work to pray. Well, guess what? What are you going to tell Allah on the day of judgment? Are you going to tell him that you were too busy working? No. So stop making that excuse in all areas. Stop making that excuse when it comes to your prayer. Stop making that excuse when it comes to your health. And that's ultimately the thing that's going to make the biggest difference and allow you to be as successful and happy as possible, inshallah. So let's keep diving through this and let's keep going. So I wanted to share that hadith to inspire you to, on an Islamic level, really take this last 90 days of the year seriously. And I've got some notes that I want to cover as far as Q4 goal setting and how to look at your goals and build that solid momentum. Because the thing is, you have the opportunity to establish a lot of momentum over the next 90 days when most people are getting lazy, such as you start the next year ahead. And when it comes to setting those goals, you don't necessarily have to set something super lofty. Some of the best goals that you can set are to take more action week by week. So let's talk about a fitness goal, right? Let's say that October's coming up and you told yourself at the end of last year, 2021, that this year, 2022, was going to be the year that you finally get fit. In the first couple weeks of January, you did well, maybe even did well into February. But when March came around, you're like, oh boy, Ramadan's coming up. And then once Ramadan came around, you completely let yourself go. Maybe you've let yourself go for the last 2 years since COVID, or maybe you were already gaining weight before that and you haven't taken your health seriously in decades, or 8 years, 10 years, whatever it may be. Well, it's never too late to start. Just like how the doors to tawbah are never closed, aka the doors of forgiveness when it comes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you can always change your habits around deen, around fitness, even around business. Let's say you've been working way too much, not being productive. You can fix that, and you have the power to fix that. Make dua and tahajjud, and take action, do your part, and invest in the knowledge and the skill sets and the mindsets that you need to succeed. And this is going to be the key to seeing the success that you want to see and the balance that you want to see. So it doesn't have to be such a lofty goal like I'm going to double my income in the next 90 days. I mean, that's a great goal, but maybe increasing by 10% is more realistic. And guess what? If you increase by 10% each quarter, where are you going to be by the effect of compounding returns and compounding increases over the next couple of years and even over the next year, right? We vastly overestimate what we can achieve in 1 year, but vastly underestimate what we can achieve in 10. SubhanAllah. And so likewise, when it comes to fitness, do you have to go and say, hey, I'm going to go to the gym every single day, twice a day, and I'm going to eat perfect, and I'm going to avoid all bad things. And this person online said I shouldn't eat carbs, but this person said I should. So I'm going to do carbs one day and carbs not the other day, because some people told me that, carbs like whatever, but then you go super hard and you make things way too complicated where you can't stick to it for more than a couple weeks. That's not the best way to go either, right? The best thing to do is to develop a strategy that you can actually sustain. And what I talk about in all my other content, so make sure you watch that if you haven't already. If you're new to my page, definitely go check out all the other stuff I post all the time about this stuff. But setting yourself up where fitness ends up being a win in business and a win in your family, because you're setting yourself up for success and to perform at your peak and have the best energy possible, the best mental state possible, to show up to your family as the positive, present, productive, patient version of you, the 4 P's of success in interpersonal relationships that will also help you professionally, not just personally, but also professionally. So those are 2 more P's, the 6 P's of success. And so ultimately, as we look at where we're at right now, I'm going to give you 2 more P's, which are the pain of the direction you're headed if you're not on track, and the possibility of the direction you could be if you just made a couple small adjustments and set some small goals that compounded over time. Because if you consider the fact of what's going to happen if you continue to let yourself be unmotivated and make excuses and not take maximum action the next 90 days of the year and the last 90 days of the year, guess what? That's going to set you up to where you're starting off the next year on the back foot, and you've left so much potential on the table, and you've wasted time, and you have nothing but regret for the temporary pleasures that you gave yourself of being lazy. Versus you take discipline, you're going to feel better right away. You take discipline, you're going to start to feel proud of yourself right away, and the possibilities of what you can achieve over the next 90 days and over the next year because you gave yourself a running head start is absolutely incredible, inshallah. And it's all by the will of Allah. So of course, you might go super hard and Allah may test you and say, hey, can you actually stay this motivated? Do you actually have faith in me? And Allah may test you for the next 90 days, the next 3 years. Allah tested me for 3 years when I started a business, and there's a couple times I gave up, but alhamdulillah, I stuck it through, and eventually He gave me success, and He gave me opportunities, and He gave me the chance to truly make my dreams a reality. But it required me to go through 3 years of suffering. So how long are you willing to suffer? It's probably not going to take you 3 years, and I know some people who suffered even longer than me in various aspects of their life until they finally achieved the results, and I know some people who had it way easier than me, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how long it took somebody else. What matters is you're planting the seeds, and whether it takes 2 years or 10 to get to where you want to be, as long as you're planting the right seeds, it's going to grow in the direction you want. I share this analogy that I got from one of my mentors the other day, which is if you plant an acorn, it's going to grow into an oak tree. It's not going to grow into a tomato. It's not going to grow into a corn. It's going to grow into an oak tree no matter what. And likewise, you plant a poison ivy, it's going to grow into a poison ivy no matter what. So what seeds are you planting? Are you planting the seeds of, hey, I'm going to be lazy, normal, and average, and let myself go over the next 90 days, over the next 90 years, right? Or are you going to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to build some new habits over the next 90 days, and over the next 90 seconds, the next 90 minutes, I'm going to change my operation day by day, moment by moment, and take inspiration from this and surround myself with better people and acquire the knowledge, the systems, and the strategies I need to stay accountable to myself and perform better across all walks of life. And I'm going to see how much I can compound that, inshallah, over the next couple of years, right? Maybe you make that change, and again, no matter how long it takes, the acorn is always going to grow into a giant oak tree, the little acorn. So that little acorn you're planting right now, plant those positive seeds, and then guess what determines the speed at which you grow it? What determines the speed at which you grow it is the environment, the soil you plant it in, and how much you water it. So how much effort are you putting in? What people are you surrounding yourself with? A lot of opportunities around you, so look for them and take them, okay? So again, I wanted to just drop those knowledge seeds in there for you to give you a little bit of inspiration. Let's see what's my next point on my document here. I planned this out for you guys meticulously so that you are able to get everything you need. So again, are you going to focus on that month-over-month progression? Don't set these lofty goals, but set a big 10-year goal, but set a very small 10-day goal, a very small next month, next 90-day goal. And you can be a little more aggressive with the 90-day goals, especially if you have like a coach in any specific area that you're trying to work on a specific goal, and you're a part of a program, like whether it's a business program, a fitness program such as my fitness program, or somebody else's if you prefer somebody else, which I hope you don't if you're watching my stuff, because I'm your number one choice. But no matter who it is, again, you might be able to set some more aggressive goals, but even if it's just a personal goal, like, hey, I'm going to treat my mom better, I'm going to treat my wife better, I'm going to treat my husband better, I'm going to treat my kids better. Maybe it's a small goal, and that's not going to take you 90 days, but even if it's a small goal, and even if you don't have any specific coaching, you don't know any specific coaches to help you in that domain of your life, setting those little goals. I'm going to clean my house more regular. I'm going to, have better hygiene. I'm going to have better habits around my nutrition. I'm going to, whatever it may be, you can set those small goals, or you can set big goals where it's like, hey, I'm going to get a six-pack over the next 3 to 6 months, whatever it may be, but work on those little goals and focus on the day by day, and obviously consult experts if you need help. And the other thing I want to mention is there's actually another hadith, and I shared this on Instagram today, and that hadith is the classic hadith about the strong believer and the weak believer, but the second part of that hadith is the part that I want to reference today. So I'm going to pull this up, the strong believer, weak believer hadith, and I'm going to share it with you if you're watching this on this screen share. And of course, if you're live on TikTok or Instagram, you'll have to check out my latest post where I talk about that. But essentially, the hadith is, the strong believer is more beloved to Allah than the weak believer, but there is goodness in both of them. Be eager for what benefits you, seek help from Allah, and do not be frustrated. So right now, if you're frustrated about the fact you're not on track to your goals that you set at the beginning of this year, don't be frustrated. If something befalls you, then do not say, if only I had done something else. Rather say, Allah has decreed what He wills. Verily, the phrase if only opens the way for the work of shaitan, right? So don't fall into the if only thinking, which is called counterfactual reasoning, but instead say, hey, you know what? The past is the past, but it's all about the next day. It's all about the next play. It's an analogy from sports. Let's say that you had a terrible sports game, or football, you had a terrible down, or basketball, you had a terrible first quarter or second quarter or third quarter. It's an applicable analogy for the year. Maybe your first 3 quarters sucked. Your past failure has no bearing on your future success, especially if you work on and problem solve the things that led to those failures. But sometimes those failures happen by chance. Sometimes Allah is testing you, and even though you have the skill sets and the mindsets, Allah hasn't given you that success yet, because He wants you to practice tawakkul and sabr, and He wants you to make dua, and He wants you to pray to Him. And you know what? Maybe that fourth quarter is where you outperform and you make up for all those other quarters you didn't succeed. But even if not, guess what? There's always the next game. There's always the next play. But start every game with a fresh slate. Start every quarter with a fresh slate, and start every day with a fresh slate. Maybe you failed Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Well, guess what? You can still be as productive and as best you can be Friday. Don't wait till next Monday or next month or next year to start. Wait until the moment that you have the realization, which I hope you're having right now as you listen to me speak. So again, whether it's Friday, whether it's Thursday, whether you're watching this live on Monday, or whether you're watching this on Tuesday, tomorrow, whatever it may be, tomorrow is a new day. Today is a new day. This is a new hour. This is a new minute. This is a new second. As you're sitting here watching this right now. Maybe you're listening to this while you're driving. Maybe you're listening to this while you're walking. Maybe you're watching this on your phone. Maybe you saved this post a while back and you're coming back to watch it later because it resonated with you. No matter where you are right now, whether you're watching this on your computer, your phone, you're listening to this on your car, headphones or whatever it may be, I want you to think about the fact that every second is a new second, and every second you have the opportunity to change the way you think, change the way you make decisions, and make better decisions that serve you in achieving your goals and being the best Muslim and the best person you can be across all areas of both akhirah and dunya. Imagine that. You have the choice, the opportunity, no matter how many times you failed in the past, your past failures have no bearing on your future success, especially if you work on whatever reasons led to your past failures without dwelling on them, but rather bouncing from that failure to your next attempt and your next success with no loss of enthusiasm. That's a powerful thing, but that also requires you to be in the right environment, because let's say you're surrounded by people who make fun of you for your failures, people who have a failure mindset, people who are always making the same mistakes as well, people who never grow, people who drag you down, people who become worse and worse year after year, year over year, month over month, week over week, hour over hour, day over day. Guess what? They're going to drag you down with you, okay? Drag you down with them. The key is to surround yourself with better people and to truly get clear on what it is that you want and relentlessly focus on that. Don't be focused on what you don't want, but rather cut those things out so you only resonate with the things that lead to your success and serve you and help you be your best, right? So that's the key. So again, remember all these hadiths. And the other thing too is you can always come back to the bare basics, your salat, right? One of the greatest things that can get you in a positive and productive mindset every single day is praying on time, because a lot of us, and this happens to me quite a bit, or rather I take ownership, I make this mistake more often than I'd like to admit, but I'll admit it right now for the sake of vulnerability and transparency. But oftentimes the mistake that I make is procrastinating my prayers till the end of the prayer window and making excuses. So what do I notice on those days? I end up being a procrastinator on every other day. And I believe there's also a hadith, which is, and I'm paraphrasing this, but you can search it up. He who delays his prayers, Allah will delay his worldly affairs. So think about what in your life seems like it's just taken way too long, and even though you're not in this instant gratification mindset, at the same time it is taking way too long versus what you would have expected. So you're not expecting it to happen right away and get instant gratification, but at the same time you've been trying for years and years and years, or months and months and months, and it's not happening for you. Maybe you're a single brother or sister trying to get married, and it's taken you years of trying to do the right thing, yet it isn't happening. Or maybe you've been trying to get your business to take off the ground, or maybe your business is doing well, but you keep hiring employee after employee, but none of them seem to work out. Or maybe you've tried to get fit year after year, month after month, you've tried a million programs, whatever it may be, but it isn't happening for you yet. You can evaluate the worldly reasons why this happened. Maybe you're not looking in the right place to find a partner. Maybe you're not executing the right business strategy. You're onboarding the wrong people. You're not training them up properly. Maybe you're using the wrong fitness strategy and it's not sustainable. But also look at the more spiritual reasons. Are you delaying your prayers because this may be why this is happening, and you're in this non-proactive mindset? So get into a proactive mindset, be your best, and watch how things change for you, inshallah. And that starts with the daily discipline of prayer and praying at the beginning of the prayer window. And what I notice is on the days I pray at the beginning of the prayer window, I'm more productive, I'm more proactive, I'm a better version of me, and that's the opportunity that each of us has every single day. So even if you were late on your prayers, maybe even missed prayers yesterday, today's a new day. Today's a new day. Maybe you were late on your last prayer today. Well, guess what? This prayer window is a new prayer window. If you're watching this right now in San Diego, it's about Dhuhr time's about to end. If you already prayed Dhuhr, great. If you haven't prayed Dhuhr, then pray it now, get off my live and check it out later, right? But then guess what? You could pray Asr at the beginning of the prayer window and rewrite the quarters of your day. You're in the third quarter of your day, so guess what? Rewrite it. You're in the third quarter of your year and it's about to be the fourth quarter, rewrite it. Maybe you end up praying Asr later. Maybe you're in Eastern time and it's about to be the end of Asr time. Guess what? Pray Maghrib on time at the beginning of the window and watch how your life changes. Pray Isha at the beginning of the prayer window and watch how much earlier you can get to bed, which means you get up early the next day, pray at the Tahajjud, pray Fajr on time, go pray Fajr at the masjid, go to the gym afterwards. Watch how your day changes. Front load the proactivity of your day every single day. But even if you failed at front loading it, that's okay. Your past failure has no bearing on your future success. Pray the next prayer on time and early and watch how things change right away. You get into momentum right away because you start to get into this momentum of being proactive and positive and on top of things and a go-getter, as opposed to the opposite mindset of being reactive, slow, procrastinator, all the things we don't want to be, okay? So it's another thing I wanted to share with you today that relates with these goals. And the last two things I want to, mention to you, even if you go hard at the end of this year and you still don't get the results that you want, still don't fret. Have trust in Allah and don't fall into that counterfactual reasoning. But remember the hadith I shared, and let this be something that strengthens your character. Don't let the darkness make you bitter. Let the darkness make you better. So what if you failed? Good thing that you tried, because you know what the biggest failure is not trying at all. But guess what? Now that you've taken an attempt and had some failures, you now have some data and some history that you can extrapolate and learn from, right? Like my first year, when I tried to start my online business in 2018, I had 2 years of being a great trainer. I was great at everything I did, but I sucked at marketing, and I made a bunch of marketing mistakes and did things in the wrong order and totally screwed up. And it sucked, and I lost all my money because I spent all my money on marketing. It didn't work out, and I ended up, going broke and have to move back in with my parents, not by choice. And I was very embarrassed. But guess what? I learned some lessons, and it took me another 2 years to learn enough from those lessons that I could finally see success, alhamdulillah, by the will of Allah in my marketing. But now that I know how to market, sometimes I still fail. But alhamdulillah, at this point, the game's a lot funner because I stuck through those 3 years of sucking until I became good enough that I'm consistently good, alhamdulillah, most of the time. And again, you still got to honor Allah, because Allah can take that success away very quickly. Because once you do start seeing success, if you start to get arrogant and give yourself too much credit but not give Allah credit, and start to pray less and all that stuff and become full of yourself and become caught up and too much in love with these worldly affairs where you fall more in love with the creation than the creator, guess what? He's going to take it away from you for your own good so you find Allah again, and then he'll give it back to you, inshallah. That's been my experience, at least. So remember, it's not about the results that you get over the next 90 days. It's about who you become over the next 90 days. Because even if you fail to get the exact results you want, you rewrite your mindset as a proactive individual, which means you start off next year with that mindset, which means your success next year will be far greater than it was this year. And I'll tell you right now, my middle 2 years of the whole 4-year journey from sucking to alhamdulillah being proficient now in the skill sets I need is, guess what? I got very discouraged, right? 2019, I was super, super discouraged. And if I hadn't already bought my ticket to Australia to go to this mastermind, I just would have given up. But because I was on my way to that mastermind, guess what? I showed up and I got a job offer for my mentor. And so that job over that year that I worked for him in Australia for 8 months and another 4 months in San Diego taught me so much that I was then able to take to my business. And I still wasn't where I needed to be, but I was a lot closer and I could finally see a little bit of success. And I got a couple other jobs and I found another mentor who taught me a lot about marketing until finally, alhamdulillah, I made it. But guess who put those mentors in my life and those opportunities in my life? It was Allah. And Allah put me through some dark times to teach me some lessons. And so likewise, what dark times is he putting you through right now? You know, if you put a seed underground, like we were talking about seeds before, guess what? Underground is dark. But you know what? You've just been planted. And so if you choose to grow, you'll grow. And you might take a while to grow. You might be like one of these plants that grows immediately in a week, or you might be like a bamboo tree. Go search this up. A bamboo tree, like I think it's a Chinese bamboo plant, the first 5 years you have to water the seed and it doesn't even break through the ground. But the first like couple of days that it breaks out of the ground, it goes like 50 feet or something like that. The first couple of months, it's ridiculous. It has exponential growth. So maybe that's where you're at in some area of your life, especially business-wise. That's what I found to be true across the board with myself and many others who, alhamdulillah, we've helped with business stuff over the last couple of years. But, you know, it goes exponentially. It's oftentimes like a bamboo tree. With fitness, sometimes it can be that way as well, right? But again, one little shift can be the thing that makes the difference. So never give up. Keep going. And especially the last 90 days of the year while everybody else is giving up, keep going and then pop up out of nowhere, super successful when everybody thinks you're an overnight success, but you knew the hard work that you put in and you know that it was the will of Allah. So I want you to break the pattern. If this has been your pattern the last 90 days of every year is to give up, I want you to break that pattern and go hard the next 90 days of the year and find somebody to help you. That's going to be the key. Now, obviously, at the end of this week, I'm going to be announcing a new program for fitness and business. Okay, we've taken on a couple case studies for, and alhamdulillah, the results have been really good across both business and fitness. So again, whether your goals are just fitness or whether you have fitness and business goals, we can absolutely help you with that. So stay tuned for that announcement at the end of this week on Instagram, inshallah. And taking it back to the whole idea of like taking the winter or taking this period to kind of almost disappear, put your head down and work hard while everybody else is relaxing, taking a break. If you've ever watched the movie Rocky, think about Rocky in the winter. He's getting up early, you know, drinking his raw eggs. And no, you don't have to do raw eggs. You can do cooked eggs or protein shake with oatmeal, you know, whatever breakfast. I mean, I talk about nutrition in many other videos, but he's doing the hard thing. And then he gets up and he runs in the cold and it's miserable. He's training in the snow, but guess what? He pops up out of nowhere for his fight and he goes and crushes it despite all odds. So what if that could be you? Think of Rocky and think about being Rocky this winter and build in yourself so that next year you can be far more successful than everybody else is getting off the couch at the end of December, feeling demotivated, trying to get motivated for New Year, but they're not even in momentum versus you have 90 days of momentum on your side. And so your first quarter of the year absolutely dominates because you dominated Q4 of this year, okay, whether it's business or fitness. So that's what I want to share with you today. Be a champion when everybody else is being average. That's what it takes to be that abnormal individual who you want to be. And by abnormal, I mean extraordinary, inshallah, and then pay it forward. Teach these mindsets and skill sets to other people or share this video, whatever it may be, to take a piece of the buttercup for yourself and help other people, watch them uplift themselves and grow. Because when you uplift the people around you, they further uplift you. Now, not everybody's going to be ready to be uplifted. Some people are going to be haters, so you just got to kind of cut out the haters, limited exposure, you know, distance yourself, but really focus on the people who support you and uplift you and energize you, and surround yourself with winners. And these are some opportunities I want to provide for you later this week as well, inshallah. So I'm going to go ahead and end this recording, post it up on YouTube, but I'll answer some Q&As on Instagram and TikTok. So if you're here on YouTube, make sure to check out my TikTok and Instagram. And if you're on TikTok and Instagram, check out YouTube. My goal here is to give you the best valuable content across all platforms. And so if you enjoy this sort of podcast style video, please let me know, inshallah, if this motivated you, if this helped you, whether it's fitness, business, or some other area of your life, or even better, Deen, and this motivated you to be on point with your prayers, pray earlier, be better. Well, number one, save this video so you can reference it whenever you need it. But number two, share this with a friend, pass this forward to a family member, whoever you feel would benefit. And inshallah, do it for the sake of Allah so you get some barakah as well. All right, guys, crush these 90-day goals. Stay tuned for more content on this. And inshallah, I'll see you in the next YouTube video. Assalamu alaikum.